Hello. Welcome to Tutors of Life podcast, where we research life so you don't have to. Episode 383. This is your host, Shaun Tutor.
And this is Sam. And this is a Tutor episode where we try to teach you something new.
We're going to see how long we have to go before we got to take a break.
Yeah.
Because we've got kiddo, and she's chilling on my lap-o. And starting next week, we're going to start trying to set babysitters up when we want a podcast.
Yeah.
Because she can be needy.
Yep. She's definitely going through a growth spurt right now because she's been eating nonstop. Yesterday, today, I got a good 2-hour nap out of her today.
She's making these weird things with her mouth.
You should have brought a Nook up.
I know, I should have brought a Nook up, and I realized I don't have any burp breaks either.
Yep. We're smart.
We should probably just take 5 right now.
Okay.
Take 1 now. And we're back. What's up?
Chilling. We're chilling.
Chilling with a fussing baby.
Yep.
All right. What, do anything fun this weekend?
I cleaned.
Clean the house.
Cleaned the house. What did we do yesterday?
We got a lot of shit done.
Oh, yeah. We got work done yesterday.
Yesterday we crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got some lifted in.
Went to a community book swap.
Yeah, we went to a community book swap.
It was disappointing, but that's okay.
You know, I've held events and they're not, I don't necessarily get a huge crazy turnout, stuff like that. So I get it. And I'm very grateful that like places are doing stuff like that, community book swap.
Yeah.
But when you say community book swap, Sam and I thought we'd be going. We thought there'd be a bunch of a bunch of vendors, bunch of stands up with people like swapping books and stuff like that. That wasn't the case.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think it was going to be like that intense.
I thought it was going to be crazy, dude.
But I thought it was going to be at least like a couple thousand books.
Yeah. Yep.
There was maybe 100 books.
One, and I was excited to go because maybe 100 bucks, right? Maybe. And I was excited to go because there's a couple genres I like, and a couple artists, a couple authors I like, and some business books we don't have that I'd be interested in. So I was pretty excited because I was like, if these books, these authors are going to be anywhere, it's going to be at a community book swap.
100%. Nope.
No. But anyways, hopefully they keep doing it. Hopefully they can grow it. Hopefully they could make it into something. So cool. Where did you hear about it?
I saw it on Facebook. The thing that sucks is like, I saw it like 2 months ago.
Crazy.
So they had plenty of time to prep for this and everything, but I don't know. Maybe there's just too many book hoarders in Eau Claire, not book givers. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, look at us. We were there. Another group came behind us. We donated like 10, 12 books.
Yeah.
And then people came behind us, probably did 20.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like,
I think we doubled their inventory alone between the two of us.
It seemed like that. Yeah, so that was interesting. And then Kimmy came up to watch kiddos so we could get some work done at the office and get a good workout in.
Mm-hmm. And we went to River Jams for dinner.
Got River Jams for dinner, yeah. Oh, so freaking good, dude.
Yeah, if we ever are at the office and need to order
River
food,
Jams,
we're just doing River Jams.
I just don't even know why we think of doing other things.
I don't either, actually.
I will say this, though. Halley Golf Course.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, they got some good burgers and some good fish.
Yeah, they do.
So,
okay, let's get into it before this one.
Let's do it. All right, so what are we chatting about today, honey?
We're chatting about how life was before the internet.
Well, something like that. It's kind of more of like, how did people used to live?
Yeah, life before the internet.
All right, yeah, that works.
That was close.
So we are 90s babies. Mm-hmm. We grew up before the internet was like used.
Mm-hmm. We kind of grew up, I think people say like we grew up
with it.
With it.
With it, yeah. Because I remember in like the 6th grade, taking like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We took like typing classes. So we grew up with it. You're absolutely right. We grew up with it. I didn't have a smartphone. So I got a smartphone when I was junior.
The year we started dating was the first year I got a smartphone.
Yeah. You are so fucking behind the times.
I also had to pay for my own phone. So as like a broke college kid, I like just got whatever the cheaper phones, and then I had an iPod Touch.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you still could access all your shit.
Yeah, while like on the internet, Wi-Fi.
Right.
And where didn't have Wi-Fi, so.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I mean, back then, I didn't spend that much time on social media on my phone.
No.
Like, not much at all.
No.
Every now and again, I guess I would get caught in. I'm going to tell you what I did do. I remember in high school when I was like junior, what was that? There was a platform, and it was a bunch of those like doodle memes. Do you remember those like doodle memes?
I never did them.
Fuck, dude. So I remember it was like me, Jake, Jared, Jared, Tanner.
Shaun. Let's go.
I'm sorry, dude. Anyways, god damn it, dude. Oh, I remember we were in German class. We would just rip the memes back then, and they were the doodle memes. Anyways, so we grew up with. You see how we get on these tangents?
Yeah, get going.
So we grew up with the internet, right? But it wasn't so there. Like, I didn't grow up being on an iPad.
Like I didn't have a laptop in class.
None of that shit, right?
Yeah.
And I had a laptop at like 14, 15, but I never even used it, dude.
Yeah, I got my first one in my freshman year of college.
Maybe I might have been a junior, to be honest with you. But I didn't even use the fucking thing, right? Like,
right.
I used like the desktop at the house. Did you have a desktop at the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing was, dude, is like we would just go outside and do shit. And we would do chores, and we had dinner with the family most nights. Played a lot of sports. Kyle and I helped my dad on like everything. We'd clean the house. And, we would watch a TV program like twice a week.
Yeah.
My dad and I, for sure. Well, I think it was Mondays, like the whole family watched something. And then I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, my dad and I would watch something supernatural. But anyways, it was a different world in the realm of like there wasn't streaming services yet.
Right. Like you had to watch things at a certain time, and you had to, like, it was once a week, and some series I remember would take fucking like 6-month breaks until their next season, and it was so annoying.
Right.
But we had patience.
Yeah, absolutely. And waiting for those things gave you patience. The other thing about having those like structured times is you hung out with family.
Yeah.
And so like we just knew, I don't even remember what day it was, but like we remember whatever day it was, like, hey, we gotta be hanging out together at home because Supernatural's on at 6 or 7 or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that shit was cool in that realm, right? In the realm of like you can't just sit down and binge a series.
Right, yeah. Like I only watch TV generally from 8 to 10 or something.
Yeah. And a lot of the times it wasn't even
even every night.
No, exactly. And we were never on our phones.
No.
I was never on my phone. If I was on my phone, it was to text a friend or call a friend.
Do you remember too, like running to the bathroom really quick and like grabbing a snack at the commercial breaks and getting back in time?
100%. 100%.
Anyways.
So what we're getting at is this. Today's world with so many distractions. We've got, we want to talk about and think about, because right now the world is changing, right? So you got your like hem and ha, skip and scurry, or Remember from the Who
Yeah,
Moved
yeah,
My
yeah.
Cheese?
Did you ever read the second one?
No, I didn't.
You really should.
But so the world is changing. We have to change with the world. I get it. Andy Frisell talks about this a lot with like AI and stuff. Is like, just because we have it doesn't necessarily mean life's better. Like, and we're changing it. At what point do we kind of regret it, right? And there's a lot of things we've been seeing now. A lot of people are pushing back against the typical like schooling system and like how things are ran. People are starting to push back. People are like starting to go like, we don't need all this time on our screens. We don't want iPad kids.
Homesteaders.
There's a lot more homesteaders now. Like, people are really like, hey, we might have went a little too far. And we still have people pushing. You know, you got the AI crowd that's still pushing.
There's an app. I don't know if you know about this. That it's like a minimalizer app or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it literally like kind of like locks you out of your phone.
That's amazing.
And you can like select different times or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, like how long you want to be locked out of your phone.
Yo.
And if you want to break that time, so like let's say you set it for an hour and you're like, oh, I need to like go on my phone after an hour or before an hour's done, you have to pay money to unlock your phone.
And where's that money go?
Towards the company.
Fuck that, son. Yo.
Yeah, so you like lose that money.
Yikes. If it went into like my savings account or something, but bro, it's you're paying to. Oh my god. Good way to fucking be out of your phone, dude.
100%.
That company's smart.
Yeah. I downloaded it because I was like curious, and then one day it randomly fucking locked my phone for an hour, and I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like I'm working."
Yikes. Yeah, I probably won't be downloading that app, but that's cool.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's like, how did we used to live? How did we used to do things? How did people used to get so much shit done? Why is the family? Did we go over that on here? The chart of like the most important things and how it used to be like where you spend your most amount of time.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
And like your screen time before screen time didn't exist. Like this chart started in like 1950, and you'd spend like 30% of your time with like your family and like 10% at faith and all, right? But so anyways, our time spent is like 60% screen time now. And so it goes to show like people used to get a lot of shit done. People used to do a lot of things. But now 60% of our time is spent on screens. 15 years ago, dude, 10 years ago, that wasn't a thing. 20 years ago, it really wasn't a thing.
I think COVID really fucked me up.
Oh, that's when I started getting bad. For sure, that's when I started getting... Yeah, dude, it's just so fucking crazy to think, like, this thing that did not take up anybody's time, took up zero time. Now, in the last 5 years, went from, like... So in the last 20 years, it didn't exist. And now, from 20 years to 10 years ago, it went to, like, 10%.
Yeah.
Now it's at 60% of our life. 50% of our life got eaten up like that within 10 years. And now we're like, well, we don't have time. No, dude. That fucking screen, your TV, you're binge watching your series, your Netflix, your fucking telephone, your social medias. Dude, we got a problem now. We got a big fucking problem. So, because this is all going somewhere, right? I'm not just like ragging on fucking what. I'm trying to bring it to a point. The point is this: how is it that we don't have time to sit down and have dinner with our families anymore? How is it that we don't have time to do? I remember my dad used to play basketball. He was on a dodgeball league and a basketball. He'd play basketball at lunch a lot of days during the week. So like him and some guys would play pickup basketball at work a few days a week. I have a feeling a lot of those people aren't doing that anymore.
No, not at all.
They're sitting on their phone at their lunch break. And it's like he used to do like, dodgeball league, shit like that. But we used to take care, like the house was clean. The meals were cooked. We always sat down for dinner. We did all the yard work, and we had a big fucking yard. Mm-hmm. We did all the maintenance on our own vehicles. My parents worked full time. We had a little hobby farm, so we had chickens, pigs, shit like that. And somehow we still had time to hang out with friends, to play sports, to visit neighbors, to help neighbors. Like somehow we still had all this time to do these things.
Right, yeah.
I still fucking lifting weights, going fishing, hunt, like all of it was able to get done.
You do less now and don't get as much done.
Bro, I've got way less on my plate now, and I fucking can't get anything done.
Yep.
Way less on my... There's only two things that have changed. I guess one, my geography, my area has changed. And now instead of going to school for a 40-hour week, I go to a job. But dude, like, how the fuck did I have time?
Right.
And so it's just when you, some of the things, like we talked about this today, things have become so much about monetization, right? Everything's about monetization. The old Instagram was like, Bert Kreischer was on Theo Von talking about this. The old Instagram was just people sharing pictures and sharing shit with family and friends. And now Instagram is like monetization central. Same thing. Facebook, it started out for like college kids, but then it moved into like a lot of family keeping up. Dude, you can't scroll through Facebook. You make it fucking 3 scrolls and you get an ad. You make it 3 more scrolls, you get an ad. And half the shit on Facebook now is promotions. You got the marketplace. Like, it's so run down that you aren't even really seeing real feed posts. It's just, and it's not even feed posts anymore. It's just sharing. Everyone's just sharing shit. It's like no one's creative. Like I shouldn't say no one's creative, but no one's like creating or just coming up with their normal like thoughts and posts and shit. Everything is like done to be a content creator.
Yeah, I remember just posting on there before, like, because it would always say like Sam Zimmerman, and then you'd put like is reading a book.
Yeah.
So I remember like writing those type of posts, and I would do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so you, like, if you were using those things, it wasn't addicting. You would see a few people's posts, see what a few people are doing, and you're like, cool, okay, sign off. I remember I barely spent any time on like Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. I'd spend, that meme site I was telling you about, I pretty much would go on it during German class and when I was taking a dump. Other than that, like, I didn't sit on my phone and do that, you know what I'm saying? And then I'd go home and show my dad some funny memes, and that's about it. But so like, how do we, I guess the whole, like, my question for civilization, for people listening, is how do we go back to not spending 60% of our life on our screens? How do we go back to getting shit done, and now we say we just don't have the time? Oof. So yeah, like, how do we go back to that? What can we do? And we got to think about, like, somehow back in the day, a husband would go to work and provide for the family. And part of this whole issue is things have gotten so expensive. They've made it, if you read Outwitting the Devil, they've made it so you need 2-person income to support a family typically. Kids go to school where they get indoctrinated. We're seeing it right now with the new administration that's in, and they're like, the school system is failing. We have uneducated kids now. They're just being indoctrinated. It's being taught based on emotion, not based on fact and based on like logic. And so we've got this indoctrination system that, by the way, was planned. And we have the mom and dad out of the house working every day to provide for the family. And so the mom and dad aren't influencing the kids. The government, is influencing the kids because it's public school based on the government, right? Sam's in the world of taking care of kid. Mm-hmm. So with all this, how do we start prioritizing our time, start doing the right thing so that we can keep our houses in order, be a good influence on our kids, teach our kids the things they need to be taught, get the household chores done, have hobbies, live a family faith-based life like family and faith used to be the underpinning of the American family. Now that's like thrown by the wayside so that people can fucking go to school or like go to a school where they're indoctrinated, and then they come home and sit on their phones and their screens where they're just consuming, not creating anything. You like it?
Yeah. Sounds good so far.
Okay. So at some point, something's got to change. We got to do something. We need to be more diligent with what we're doing. So much of our life is instant gratification nowadays, right? It's 10 years, even 10, like I shouldn't say 10, 20 years ago, people didn't drive and get a coffee every day. Like, how much time are you spending in your car driving to the coffee shop, doing those sort of things every day? Instant gratification. And nothing against, dude. I love coffee shops. I get coffee almost every day. I fucking love it, dude. But like, how much time is that taking out of my day? And you can't act. You're gonna end up having to leave, aren't you? And like, you can't act that like that's the right way to live life. Like over in Europe, when we go to Europe, people go and they hang out at the coffee shop, and a lot of them aren't getting their coffees to go. They're sitting down. They're enjoying their coffee. They're hanging out. I'm about that shit. Like, that's a nice social thing to do. But how many of us are just commuting to work, getting coffees, going out, grabbing a lunch, and not like actually sitting and enjoying that time with others?
One way too that you can really see the difference is just walking around in Europe. There's so many people everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's rainy out. Right. It was cold and rainy in Scotland. There's still so many people out.
Right.
So they make a point to go out and do things as a family or with friends. It's more social.
A lot more social. It's a lot more social. So I mean, if we're thinking about it, how do we take back control of our lives and our culture and cut back on the fucking 60% of our life spent on screens and spent not doing the shit we should be doing? And like we talked on the last podcast about, the kids not looking like adults anymore, right? Like the grown-ups not looking like grown-ups anymore. We need to be intentional with the shit we're doing. The shit we need to open our eyes. We have to stop being sheep. We have to stop letting just people lead us aimlessly without asking why. And I think, a good first step is just to identify the shit that you used to do when you were younger, or identify the shit that families used to do, and ask yourself, what are those things are you currently doing, if any of them, and how could you, and then figuring out how could you do those things. And a lot of it, and you could pretty much get it all done, I'd imagine, if you were just to cut out the screen time. And you could still watch TV every now and again.
Yeah, but just limit it.
Right. And then don't sit down and binge a whole series. Watch an episode once or twice a week.
Right.
It's just we're just so distracted. But so if you start by identifying like what people used to do or what like maybe you and your family did growing up, see what you're doing now, what you're not, and then look at where you're spending your time, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't think I spend that much time on my phone. Well, check your fucking digital well-being and see what your screen time is or the amount of time your phone's active. Because like I'm bad with this. Like I listen and watch a podcast a day at least. So I probably spend 2 hours a day with a podcast. That's a distraction, like before how often, like people weren't doing that before. It's just consuming a bunch of knowledge or like consuming a bunch of shit that is taking away bandwidth in your brain. Now, granted, a lot of that stuff is good stuff to learn. A lot of that stuff's good stuff to have, especially on like, I listen to a lot of like business podcast stuff or some news stuff. So some of it's good to take in, but a lot of it's like just dumb.
Yeah. It like we discussed in the last podcast, like some of that stuff we use, like we think we're being smart with like reading books or whatever, but a lot of them are just distractions.
Distractions, yeah.
Because like think about when you listen to a podcast while you're working. How much are you retaining from that podcast, and how much are you able to actually focus on your work while you have that playing?
Both are minimal.
Yeah.
Both are minimal.
Yeah. We're too much in like a multitasking era as well.
100%. When I was at Holistic and they asked me like, do you drive and eat? And I was like, what? They're like, do you eat and drive? And I was like, yes, every day, 3 meals a day. And they're like, you shouldn't be doing that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, then when would I eat? And they're like, you sit down and map out a time to eat. And I'm like, what? And then I think about it and I'm like, wait a second. That's what I did forever. Like, I didn't start eating while I drive until the last like 10 years of my life.
Mm-hmm. Something else I think we need to start doing too is planning less in a day.
Yes.
Because Shaun and I especially are both really bad at this. We think we can get more done in a day than we actually can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something something I read somewhere. I don't remember. They were like discussing like different personality types, and like one of them is being like a procrastinator. And they said the main cause for why people procrastinate is because they plan too much or they like expect too much out of themselves in one day.
Mm.
And they said like expect less, because like if you accomplish everything early, then you can start adding on those other things
mm-hmm.
that like you plan for the following day or whatever. So they said to expect to do less in a day, and that helps with your procrastination.
That makes a ton of sense.
Because I mean, so often you plan 20 things to do in a day.
7,000 things, dude. I'm gonna get it all done.
Mm-hmm. And then you get pissed off when you only completed 3 things.
Yep.
So instead, like if you plan to do less in a day, it'll actually help you get further faster.
Absolutely. Well, and another thing, to piggy off of that, I talked to Greg Housewander. He goes on a 45-minute like walk a day.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that is his time to think. And I used to go on like 30-minute walks, and I really couldn't unlock my brain until about 20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
And So I'd go on like 30, 45-minute walks just so I could think. Well, we don't have, Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Thought, Napoleon Hill. He talks about how important it is to think and to manifest. How much time, and how much time are you actually spending thinking? Think, not like, oh, I thought about this at work. No. How much time are you spending thinking, deep thought about critical things? I'm betting it's not a lot.
Probably not, no.
And with all these distractions, it fucks up your memory.
Mm-hmm.
How much shit, dude, do you remember?
Like, yeah, not nearly as much as I used to.
Right. And I can't imagine your brain is supposed to be forgetting shit at 30 years old.
Right.
Like, I understand you might forget some stuff, but you can't tell me, like, dude, the amount of shit I can't even remember because there's just so much stupid shit up in this fucking brain.
Mm-hmm.
So much dumb shit. It's just bonkers, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. The other sword for me, the other like thing with me is like, I get a lot of my news and info and like shit from PBD and from Andy Frisella, Real AF. So it's like I could see the podcast, like our like chat on our podcast, struggling for ideas and stuff if I'm not hearing any things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know when we do get in ruts, it's when neither of us have listened to anything or read anything new lately.
Yeah, because if we're not like stimulating the brain to bring up, but then again, if I was to read a book, like read 10 pages, and if I was to go walk, it'd be there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It would just have to come from a different, like, I'd have to get my creative juices flowing and shit.
Yeah, I feel like you and I haven't been as creative lately. And I think it's because we haven't been doing as many, like, walks or...
Yeah, when I'm most...
Like, we're just constantly listening to stuff or whatever.
When I'm most creative, I'm doing... I'm reading, and I'm walking.
Like, that's why I haven't really been blogging as much lately, because I'm just like, I don't even know what to blog about.
Same. I haven't blogged in fucking months, dude. It's so crazy. And you want to know what? It's just not prioritizing time. That's all it is. And the thing is like, how many hours are spent listening to a podcast when... That kid's so bonkers. Like, how many hours are spent on a podcast when instead I could like have read and went for a walk. I could have got some work done, whatever.
I hope you guys are enjoying these noises.
She's just crazy. She's funny.
Yeah. Very easily. I know we discussed this last year and we never actually fully committed to it, but it'd be interesting to do like, because I've seen studies that it's like 30 days of a digital detox.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
That like helps you. Like, that's when you start improving, like, so many things. Like,
Really?
your dopamine levels improve.
Oh, yeah.
Your memory levels improve. So it'd be interesting to do, like, a 75 hard, our own 75 hard version again or whatever. Because we discussed it doing it last year, but then we never did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, like we said, like, we know we have the time. It's just we're not prioritizing what we need to.
For sure. Yeah, the thing that's difficult for me with 75 hard is, God dang it, do I love a sweet treat.
That's what I'm saying, like, do our own version of 75 hard.
I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, it's more just because, like, last year there was things I would do every day, and I would just crush it every day. Mm-hmm. And it's very, like, at least once you like build the discipline and you get into things, it's easy to do things consistently if you have a, like, for me, it's easy to do things consistently if I have it written down.
Right, yeah.
If I have it like planned into my day, it's easy to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we haven't like made the plan.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done the thing. We haven't put it into the calendar, whatever. But we've got the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. I challenge you to look at your screen time.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at your screen time for the last, you know, and not like, so look at your screen time on your phone, and then take stock of every time you're in front of your TV at home.
Mm-hmm. And then try and tell us that you don't have time.
100%, because that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So crazy. So crazy.
Yeah. Got anything else?
Nah, dude, I think that's it.
Cool.
You got anything else?
I don't know. Just get off your... for your overall health, it's so much better for you to get off of your phones and screens.
Yep. I didn't even, like, this topic wasn't even supposed to be a phone topic, but it's very easy to identify the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
100%.
Like, we used to do so much shit with our fucking lives, dude.
Dude, did you... I don't know if you mentioned this. During COVID, Shaun and I were shocked when we were driving down the street and we saw kids outside playing.
Bro.
And we're just like, this shouldn't be a thing. We shouldn't be shocked to see kids playing outside. And like, it was like at like a park by themselves. Like it wasn't in their yard or something.
Right.
Like it was at a park. They were shooting hoops.
Yep.
No parents around. And I was like, dude, that's what life used to be like.
That's what life used to be. It's so crazy, dude. So crazy.
And now I see adults more using the parks than kids.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. Cool. I think that's all I got.
Yep. That's all I got.
All right. Peace.
See ya.